Watch the children. Get away from us. Leave them alone. Go back.
Please help us.
I watched my ex-wife step out of a black car that cost more than every house on my street combined. And that's when my whole world turned to dust. My name is James, and 3 years ago I made the biggest mistake of my life. I let my family throw out the woman I loved, along with our 3 Bobbies, because we thought she was nobody. We thought she had nothing. We thought we were better than her. We were so wrong it hurts to even breathe. Before I tell you this story, drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. Are you listening while driving? At work? Lying in bed? I want to know, because what I'm about to share with you will change how you see love, family, and the choices we make when we think nobody's watching. 5 years ago, I met Sandra at a small coffee shop in Los Angeles. Not one of those fancy places with gold on the walls. Just a regular shop where regular people go. She was sitting by the window with a book, and the sun was making her hair shine like honey. I couldn't look away. I was working at my family's car repair shop back then. My mom, Florence, ran the business my dad built before he died. My sister Wendy worked there too, doing the books and bossing everyone around like she owned the place. We weren't rich, but we had enough. We had our pride. We had our name in the neighborhood. Sandra was different from any girl I'd ever met. She was quiet. She never talked about her family, never showed off. She wore simple clothes and smiled at everyone. When I asked her out, she said yes so softly I almost didn't hear it. That smile could light up the darkest room. We fell in love fast. The kind of love that feels like flying and drowning at the same time. 6 months later, I asked her to marry me in that same coffee shop. She cried and said yes, and I felt like the richest man alive. But my family didn't like her. She's too quiet, my mom said. What's she hiding? She doesn't have any family, Wendy added. That's weird, everyone has someone. She works as a waitress, Mom continued. What kind of future is that? I didn't care. I loved Sandra. I loved how she made me feel. I loved how she saw good in everything. I loved how she never judged anyone. So we got married anyway, small ceremony, just a few friends. My family came, but they didn't smile in any of the pictures. The first year was hard. Sandra got pregnant right away, not with one baby, 3 triplets, 2 boys and a girl, Peter, Francis, and little Benita. I was happy, scared but happy. 3 Bobbies meant 3 times the love, right? Wrong. 3 Bobbies meant 3 times the cost, 3 times the crying, 3 times the diapers and formula and doctor visits. My paycheck from the shop wasn't enough. Sandra couldn't work anymore because she was so tired all the time. The Bobbies came early and needed special care. Bills piled up like snow in winter. Every day brought new problems. The car broke down. The apartment heater stopped working. One of the Bobbies got sick and we spent 2 nights in the hospital. The money just disappeared. That's when my family started talking. She trapped you, Wendy said one night at the shop. Got pregnant so you'd be stuck with her. She's using you, Mom added. Taking your money, giving nothing back. That's not true, I said, but my voice was weak. I was tired. So tired. Working 12 hours a day and still coming home to crying Bobbies and a wife who looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Look at you, Mom said, putting her hand on my shoulder. You're killing yourself for what? For her. What has she brought to this family except mouths to feed? Doubt started growing in my mind like a weed, small at first, easy to ignore, but it grew. Every time Sandra asked for money for diapers, the weed grew. Every time she looked too tired to smile at me, it grew. Every time the Bobbies cried all night and I had to go to work with no sleep, it grew. I started seeing Sandra differently, started wondering if my family was right. The breaking point came on a Tuesday. I'll never forget it. I came home early and found Sandra on the phone. She was talking quietly, almost whispering. When she saw me, she ended the call fast. Who was that? I asked. Nobody, she said, but her face went red. "Don't lie to me." "James, please, it was just a friend." But I didn't believe her. The weed in my mind was a tree now blocking out the sun. I grabbed her phone. She tried to stop me, but I pushed past her. I checked her call history. There were calls to a number I didn't know. Lots of them. "What is this?" I demanded. "James, stop. Are you cheating on me?" "What? No." "Then who is this?" Sandra's eyes filled with tears. "I can't tell you." Those 4 words destroyed us. "I can't tell you." What else could that mean except she was hiding something terrible? I called my mom. She came over with Wendy. They looked at Sandra like she was dirt on their shoes. "We knew it," Wendy said. "We knew she was no good." "James, you need to make a choice," Mom said. "It's her or us. Your real family or this liar." Sandra was crying now, holding baby Benita. "Please, James, you don't understand." "Then tell me," I shouted. "Tell me who you're calling. Tell me the truth." "I can't." "Then get out." The words came out before I could stop them. The moment they hit the air, I wanted to take them back, but my mom and Wendy were nodding. They looked pleased. "She needs to leave," Mom said, "tonight." "With the Bobbies?" Sandra asked, her voice breaking. "They're your responsibility," Wendy said. "You wanted them, you take them." I should have stopped it. I should have stood up for my wife, for my children. But I was so angry, so hurt, so tired. I just stood there like a stone while Sandra packed her things. She was crying. The Bobbies were crying, and I just watched. She looked at me one last time before she left. Her eyes were red and wet and full of something I couldn't name then. Now I know what it was. It was disappointment. It was heartbreak. It was goodbye. "I loved you," she whispered. "I really loved you." Then she was gone, out into the cold night with 3 Bobbies and 2 bags. I didn't even help her carry anything to her car. I just shut the door and locked it. "You did the right thing," Mom said, patting my back. But it didn't feel right. It felt like I'd cut off my own arm. The divorce was quick. Sandra didn't fight it. She didn't ask for anything. She just signed the papers and disappeared. I tried to find her once about a month later, but she'd moved. Her phone was disconnected. It was like she'd never existed. I threw myself into work, tried to forget, tried to move on. But life had other plans. 6 months after Sandra left, things started going wrong. The shop started losing customers. People said the quality wasn't good anymore. Reviews online were terrible. Then the landlord raised our rent. Then a big chain repair shop opened up 2 blocks away with lower prices. Within a year, we had to close. My family's business, the thing my dad built with his own hands, was gone. Mom got sick after that. The stress broke something in her. She had a stroke, small at first, but it changed her. She couldn't work anymore, couldn't live alone. Wendy had to take care of her, and Wendy blamed me for everything. "This is your fault," she screamed at me one night. "If you hadn't married that woman, none of this would have happened. She brought bad luck to our family." But I knew that wasn't true. Deep down, I knew. We'd brought this on ourselves. I got a job at another repair shop across town. The pay was bad. The hours were long. I lived in a tiny apartment with walls so thin I could hear my neighbors breathing. Every night I thought about Sandra, wondered where she was, wondered if the Bobbies were okay, wondered if I'd made the worst mistake of my life. 2 years passed like this. 2 years of barely surviving. 2 years of regret eating me alive from the inside. Then one day, everything changed. I was at a gas station, filling up my old truck, when I saw a poster on the wall. It was an ad for a charity event. Some rich person was donating money to help families in need. The poster showed a woman standing with 3 small children. The woman was Sandra. I stared at that poster until someone behind me honked their horn. My hands were shaking. That was Sandra. I was sure of it, but she looked different. Her hair was styled. She wore expensive clothes. She was smiling, but it was a different kind of smile. A confident smile. a smile that said she didn't need anyone. The poster said the event was happening at a big hotel downtown. I drove there that night, still wearing my dirty work clothes. Security tried to stop me at the door, but I pushed past them. I had to see her, had to know if it was really her. The ballroom was full of rich people in fancy clothes. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling like frozen waterfalls. Everyone was drinking champagne and laughing. I felt so out of place I wanted to run. But then I saw her. Sandra, standing across the room talking to a group of people. She wore a blue dress that probably cost more than my truck. Her hair was long and shiny. She looked like a queen, and next to her were 3 children, Peter, Francis, and Benita, my Bobbies, except they weren't Bobbies anymore. They were 4 years old now, dressed in cute outfits, holding her hands. I started walking toward her. People stared at me. I heard someone say, "Who let him in here?" But I didn't care. I pushed through the crowd until I was standing right in front of her. Sandra turned and saw me. Her whole body went stiff. The smile fell off her face. "James," she said quietly. "Sandra, I saw your picture. I had to see if it was you." She looked at the children, then back at me. "You should go. Please, I need to talk to you. I need to explain." "There's nothing to explain. You made your choice." "I was wrong. I was so wrong, please." One of the men she'd been talking to stepped forward. He was tall, wearing a suit that probably cost more than I made in 6 months. "Is this man bothering you, Miss Johnson?" "Miss Johnson?" Sandra looked at the man and gave a small smile. "It's okay, Peter. This is an old friend." Peter, she'd named our son Peter, and this rich man was also named Peter. My head was spinning. "Sandra, please," I begged. 5 minutes, that's all I'm asking." She looked at me for a long moment, then she nodded. "Children, stay with Peter. Mommy will be right back." We walked out to a balcony. The city lights spread out below us like a blanket of stars. It was cold, but I barely felt it. "How did you find me?" Sandra asked, not looking at me. I saw a poster. "Who are you? What is all this?" She laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You really didn't know, did you?" "Know what?" Sandra turned to face me. Her eyes were hard now, not like before, not soft and kind, hard like stones. "My full name is Sandra Grace Johnson. My father is William Johnson. Maybe you've heard of him." William Johnson. Everyone had heard of him. He was one of the richest men in America. He owned hotels, tech companies, half of Lowe's Angels. He was on TV all the time. He was worth billions. That's not possible," I said. "Oh, it's very possible. It's very real." "But you worked as a waitress. You had nothing." "I had everything," Sandra said, her voice rising. "I had a father who loved me. I had money. I had security. But I wanted to know what real life was like. I wanted to meet people who'd love me for me, not for my money. So I left, changed my name, got a regular job, lived like a regular person." My legs felt weak. I leaned against the balcony rail. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I was going to. After we got married, I was going to tell you everything. But then your family started treating me like trash. And I thought, maybe if they knew who I really was, they'd accept me. But then I realized something." "What?" "I didn't want people to love me because I was rich. I wanted them to love me because of who I was, so I kept the secret. I wanted to see if you'd stand by me, if you'd defend me against your family, if you'd choose love over pride." The words hit me like punches. Each one hurt more than the last. "And you failed," Sandra continued. "You let them kick me out. You threw me away like garbage. You watched me leave with our Bobbies and you did nothing." "Sandra, I'm sorry. I was stupid. I was blind. If I'd known. If you'd known I was rich, you would have kept me. That's supposed to make me feel better." "No, You should have kept me anyway, James. You should have loved me anyway. Money shouldn't matter. But it did to you. It did to your family. You looked at me and saw a poor waitress not worth fighting for." Tears were running down my face now. Please, give me another chance, let me make it right. Sandra shook her head. It's too late. The person you married is gone. She died the night you threw her out. I'm someone different now. What about the kids? They're mine too. No, Sandra said firmly. They're mine. You gave them up when you gave me up. You haven't called, haven't checked on them, haven't sent a single dollar to help raise them. You have no rights here. That's not fair. Fair? Sandra's laugh was sharp. You want to talk about fair? Was it fair when your mother called me a gold digger? Was it fair when your sister said I trapped you? Was it fair when you believed them instead of me? Was it fair when you threw me out in the cold with 3 bobbies? I had no answer. She was right about everything. The phone calls you saw, Sandra said quietly. That was my father. He'd been trying to reach me for months. He missed me. He wanted me to come home. I kept saying no because I loved you. I wanted our life together, but I also couldn't tell you about him without telling you everything, and I wasn't ready yet. If I just waited, if I just trusted you. But you didn't, and now here we are. We stood in silence for a moment. Below us, the city hummed with life. Up here, everything felt dead. I see you're doing well, I said finally. You look happy. Sandra's face softened just a little. I'm doing okay. My father welcomed me back with open arms. He never stopped loving me even when I ran away. That's what real family does, James. They don't give up on you when things get hard. The words stabbed deep. I know I don't deserve anything from you, but can I at least see the kids sometimes? Can I be part of their lives? Sandra looked back through the glass doors at the 3 children playing inside. They don't remember you. They don't ask about you. They're happy and safe and loved. Why would I bring pain into their lives by reminding them they have a father who abandoned them? I didn't abandon them. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Actions have consequences, James. You can't just erase what you did because you're sorry now. A man came out to the balcony. It was the same Peter from before. Sandra, your father is asking for you. I'll be right there. She turned back to me one last time. Goodbye, James. I hope you find happiness somewhere. I really do, but it won't be with me. It won't be with them. That door is closed. She walked away. I watched her go, watched her pick up Benita and kiss her head, watched her laugh at something Francis said, watched her hold Peter's hand. My family. Except they weren't my family anymore. I left the hotel that night feeling like a ghost. Everything I thought I knew was wrong. Every choice I made was wrong, and now it was too late to fix any of it. But the story doesn't end there. 2 weeks later, I got a call from an unknown number. When I answered, a man's voice said, "Is this James?" "Yeah, who's this?" "My name is William Johnson. I believe you know my daughter." My blood went cold. "Yes, sir. I'd like to meet with you, tomorrow if possible." "Sir, I don't think that's a good idea." Sandra made it clear. "I'm not asking, son. I'm telling. Be at this address at 2 p.m. tomorrow." He gave me an address and hung up. I didn't sleep that night. What did he want? Was he going to threaten me, sue me, have me arrested for something? The next day I drove to the address he gave me. It was a huge house in the hills, more like a palace than a house. Gates, guards, fountains, everything. They let me through and led me to an office bigger than my entire apartment. William Johnson sat behind a desk made of dark wood. He was older than I expected, maybe 60, with gray hair and sharp eyes. He looked like someone who'd built an empire with his bare hands. "Sit," he said. I sat. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he said, "You broke my daughter's heart." "I know, sir, I'm sorry." Sorry doesn't fix anything. Sorry is just a word people say when they want to feel better about the terrible things they've done. You're right. I should hate you. I should make your life very difficult. Do you know how easy that would be for me? Yes, sir. But I'm not going to do that. Do you know why? I shook my head. Because Sandra asked me not to. Even after everything you did, she still has a good heart. She told me you were a victim of your own family's poison. She told me you were weak, not evil. The words hurt because they were true. I called you here to tell you something, William continued. You will stay away from my daughter. You will stay away from my grandchildren. If I hear that you've tried to contact them, if I hear that you've come near them, if I even hear your name mentioned in the same sentence as theirs, I will destroy you. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Good, now get out of my house. I stood up to leave, but then I stopped. I had to say something, had to try one last time. Sir, I know I don't deserve anything. I know I messed up worse than anyone ever has. But those kids are mine too. I have their blood in my veins. Doesn't that count for something? William stood up slowly. He walked around the desk until he was standing right in front of me. He was shorter than me, but somehow seemed 10 feet tall. Blood doesn't make you a father, he said quietly. Being there makes you a father. Protecting them makes you a father. Loving them when it's hard makes you a father. You had your chance to be their father and you threw it away. Now you're just a stranger who happens to share their DNA. He was right, I knew he was right, but it still hurt to hear. There's one more thing, William said as I reached the door. Your mother's medical bills. I heard she's been struggling. We're managing, I said, though it was a lie. The bills were crushing us. Wendy had taken out loans. I was working 2 jobs. We were drowning. The bills have been paid, William said. All of them. Past, present, and future. Consider it a gift. I turned around, shocked. Why would you do that? Because unlike you and your family, I understand that hurting someone who hurt you doesn't fix anything. It just creates more pain. Sandra asked me to help, and I did. Not for you, for her. Because she's still too good for this world, even after everything. I left that house feeling smaller than I'd ever felt in my life. Even William Johnson, the man I'd wronged more than anyone, was more kind and generous than I'd been to my own wife. The months that followed were the darkest of my life. I kept working, kept paying my bills, kept taking care of Mom, but inside I was empty. I'd see families in the park and feel like someone was crushing my chest. I'd see fathers playing with their kids and have to look away. Wendy noticed. You're still thinking about her, she said one day. Every day, I admitted. She's gone, James. She was never real anyway. The girl you married was a lie. No, I said firmly. She was real. She was the most real thing in my life, and I destroyed it. You're being dramatic. Am I? We had everything, Wendy. We had love. We had a family. And we threw it away because of pride and fear and stupidity. Don't you feel anything? Don't you regret what we did? Wendy looked away. For a moment I saw something in her eyes. Guilt maybe, regret, but then it was gone. What's done is done, she said. But it wasn't done for me. It would never be done. 1 year after I'd seen Sandra at that hotel, I was walking through downtown Los Angeles when I saw them again. Sandra and the kids. They were at a park having a picnic. The kids were bigger now, running around, laughing. Sandra was sitting on a blanket, watching them with a smile. I stood behind a tree and watched. I know that sounds creepy. Maybe it was, but I couldn't help it. I just wanted to see them, wanted to see that they were happy. And they were so happy. Francis was playing with a ball. Peter was climbing on the playground. Benita was picking flowers. Sandra was reading a book but looking up every few seconds to check on them. This could have been my life. This should have been my life. I was about to leave when Benita saw me. She stopped picking flowers and stared right at me. She was 5 now, old enough to be curious about strangers. She walked toward me. My heart started racing. I should have left, should have run, but I couldn't move. Hi, she said when she got close. Hi, I said back. Why are you behind that tree? I was just looking at the birds. She looked up. I don't see any birds. Smart kid. Of course she was smart, she was mine. What's your name? She asked. James. That's my middle brother's name. Well, his first name is Francis, but his middle name is James. My heart stopped. Sandra had given him my name. Even after everything, she'd kept my name alive in our son. That's a nice name, I managed to say. Benita, Sandra's voice called out. Come back here, sweetie. Benita turned and waved. Coming, Mommy, she looked back at me. Bye, tree man. Then she ran back to her mother. I watched as Sandra scooped her up and kissed her head. I watched as Sandra's eyes met mine across the park. For just a second, we looked at each other. Her face didn't change. She didn't smile or frown. She just looked at me like I was any other stranger. Then she picked up Benita and called the other kids. They packed up their picnic and left. I stood behind that tree until they were gone, until the park was empty, until the sun started to set. That night I made a decision. I couldn't keep living like this. I couldn't keep drowning in regret and pain. I couldn't change the past, but I could change my future. I enrolled in night classes, started studying business, started working harder than I'd ever worked before. If I couldn't be part of my children's lives, I could at least become someone they might be proud of if they ever learned about me. It took 3 years, but I built something. Not a big company like William Johnson's, not a fortune, but something honest. A small chain of repair shops, clean and fair, treating customers right, making enough money to live well. I never married again, never even dated. How could I? No one would ever compare to Sandra. No one would ever make me feel the way she did. I stayed away from her and the kids like William had told me to. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done, but I did it. Because it was what she wanted. Because maybe, just maybe, that's what love really is. Letting go when holding on would cause more pain. Then 8 years after that night I threw Sandra out, I got another call. James, it was Sandra's voice. I almost dropped the phone. Sandra. I need to see you. Can you meet me? Of course, anywhere, when? Tomorrow, same coffee shop where we met, 2 p.m. She hung up before I could ask why. I didn't sleep again that night. What did she want? Had something happened? Were the kids okay? I got to the coffee shop an hour early, paced outside, drank 3 cups of coffee, nearly threw up from nerves. Then she arrived. She looked different again. Older, but not in a bad way. More tired, maybe. She wore jeans and a simple shirt. Her hair was pulled back. She looked more like the girl I'd married than the rich woman I'd seen at the hotel. We sat down at a table. Neither of us spoke for a moment. How are you? I asked finally. I'm okay, how are you? Better, not great, but better. She nodded. I heard you started a business, doing well. You've been checking on me. Sometimes, not often. The kids. Her face softened. They're good, growing up so fast. Francis wants to be a mechanic like you used to be. Peter wants to be a doctor. Benita wants to be everything. I smiled despite the pain in my chest. They sound amazing. They are. Silence again. Finally, I asked, why did you want to see me? Sandra took a deep breath. Because I'm tired of carrying anger. I'm tired of carrying pain. I've spent 8 years telling myself I hate you, but I don't. I don't hate you, James. And that makes me mad because I want to hate you. It would be so much easier. Sandra, let me finish. I brought you here because the kids have been asking about you. They're old enough now to wonder. They see other kids with fathers and they ask questions. I've been putting it off, making excuses, but I can't anymore. My heart was pounding. What are you saying? I'm saying that if you want to meet them properly, if you want to try to be part of their lives, I won't stop you anymore. Tears filled my eyes. Really? But there are rules, lots of them. You don't get to be their father overnight. You have to earn it. You have to prove you won't hurt them like you hurt me. You have to show up every time, no matter what. Can you do that? Yes, I can do that. And you need to understand something else. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it for them. They deserve to know their father if he's willing to be a real father. Are you willing? More than anything in the world. Sandra reached into her bag and pulled out a piece of paper. This is a schedule. You can see them once a week for now. Supervised visits at first. We'll see how it goes. I took the paper with shaking hands. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. You haven't done anything yet. Show me you've changed. Show me you're not the same man who threw us away. I will, I promise I will. Sandra stood up to leave. Then she paused and looked back at me. James, I need you to know something. I'm not doing this because I forgive you. I'm not doing this because I want us to be together again. That ship has sailed. I'm doing this because our children deserve better than having a hole where their father should be. Don't make me regret this. I won't. She left. I sat in that coffee shop for another hour, staring at the schedule she'd given me, crying like a baby. I had a second chance. After everything I'd done, after all the mistakes, I had one more chance to do right by my kids. That first visit was the scariest day of my life. Sandra brought them to a park. They were 11 years old now, so big, so grown. Kids, Sandra said, this is James, he's your father. 3 pairs of eyes stared at me. Francis looked suspicious. Peter looked curious. Benita looked confused. Our father, Francis said, you said he was gone. He was, Sandra said carefully, but he wants to be here now. Why wasn't he here before? Francis asked, his voice sharp. I knelt down so I was at their level. Because I made a terrible mistake. I hurt your mother and I left when I should have stayed. And I'm so sorry. I can't change what I did, but I want to try to be better now, if you'll let me. Francis crossed his arms. Peter looked at Sandra for guidance. Benita stepped forward. Did you leave because of us? She asked. No, I said firmly. I left because I was stupid and scared and I listened to the wrong people, but it had nothing to do with you. You 3 are perfect. You've always been perfect. Then why did you stay away so long? She asked. It was a fair question, an impossible question. Because your mother told me to, and she was right to do that. I had to become someone worth knowing before I could come back. Benita thought about this. Then she said, are you someone worth knowing now? I don't know, I answered honestly, but I want to try to be. She nodded slowly. Okay, you can try. Francis still looked angry. Peter still looked unsure, but Benita's acceptance was a start. That first visit was awkward. We played catch, but nobody talked much. We got ice cream, but it felt forced. When it was time to go, only Benita waved goodbye. But the next week, Peter asked me a question about cars. And the week after that, Francis actually laughed at something I said. Slowly, over months and months, we built something. Not a perfect relationship, not a fairy tale, but something real. I learned about their lives, their dreams, their fears. I helped with homework. I showed up to their school events. I never missed a single visit, not once, even when I was sick or tired or busy. And slowly, they started to trust me, started to see me as someone they could count on. Sandra watched it all from a distance. She was kind but distant. We talked about the kids but never about us. That part was dead and buried, and I accepted it. 2 years into our arrangement, Mom passed away. The stroke finally took her. At the funeral, Wendy cried and said she never got to see her grandchildren. Yes, she did, I said quietly. What? She met them when they were Bobbies. She just chose to throw them away. Wendy had no response to that. After the funeral, Sandra came up to me. I'm sorry for your loss, she said. Thank you. The kids wanted to come. I told them it was okay to stay home. That's fine, they didn't know her. James, Sandra said softly, I've been watching you with them. You've been good, really good. They talk about you at home now. They ask when they'll see you next. My throat got tight. Really? Really? I'm proud of you. I know that doesn't mean much coming from me, but I am. It means everything coming from you." Sandra smiled, a real smile, the first real smile she'd given me in 10 years. "Maybe we can move to unsupervised visits if you want." "I want to." And so it continued. Years passed. The kids grew. Frances started working with me at the shop during summers. Peter got into a great college. Benita discovered she loved art and music. I was there for all of it. Every game, every concert, every graduation. I was there. Sandra started dating someone, a good man named Johnson. I was happy for her. She deserved happiness. She deserved everything good in the world. One day Benita asked me, "Dad, do you still love Mom?" We were sitting in my office at the shop. She was 17 now, about to go to college herself. "Yes," I said honestly, "I'll always love her." "Does it hurt, seeing her with someone else?" "A little, but it hurts less knowing she's happy. Your mom deserves to be happy, Benita. She's the best person I've ever known." "Why did you let her go then, if she's so great?" "Because I was stupid. Because I believed lies instead of truth. Because I thought pride was more important than love. Because I was young and scared and weak." Benita nodded slowly. "I think I understand. Sometimes people make mistakes even when they love someone." "That's exactly right." "But you fixed it, you came back." "I tried to fix it. I can never fully fix what I broke, but I've tried my best." She hugged me then. "I'm glad you came back, Dad, even if it took a while." Standing here now, 13 years after that terrible night I threw Sandra out, I can see everything clearly. I see what I lost. I see what I gained back. I see what I'll never have again. I have a relationship with my children, and that's more than I ever thought I'd get. But I lost Sandra forever. I lost the love of my life because I chose wrong when it mattered most. People ask me sometimes if I regret it. What a stupid question. Of course I regret it. I regret it every single day. I regret it when I wake up alone. I regret it when I see Sandra smile at her husband. I regret it when I think about the years I missed with my kids. But regret doesn't change anything. Regret is just the price you pay for mistakes you can't undo. What I've learned is this: love isn't about money. It's not about status or pride or what other people think. Love is about choosing someone when it's hard. Love is about standing up for someone when everyone tells you not to. Love is about believing in someone when you have every reason to doubt. I failed that test. I failed Sandra. I failed my kids. But I've spent 13 years trying to pass a different test. The test of showing up. The test of being present. The test of being someone my kids can rely on. Will Sandra ever forgive me fully? I don't know. Will she ever love me again? No, that door is closed forever and I closed it myself. But I've learned to live with that, because love isn't just about getting what you want. Sometimes love is about accepting what you've lost and still showing up anyway, still trying, still fighting to be better. My family kicked out a woman they thought was worthless. Turned out she was worth billions. But that's not the real story. The real story is that Sandra was always priceless, rich or poor, and we were too blind to see it. We threw away a diamond because we thought it was glass. Now I spend my days running my shops, seeing my kids and living with the consequences of my choices. It's not the life I wanted. It's not the fairy tale ending. But it's the life I earned. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real lesson here. We don't always get what we want. We get what our choices create. And if we're lucky, if we work hard enough, if we never give up, we might get a small piece of what we lost back. I got my kids back. That's more than I deserved. But Sandra, she's living her best life now. Successful, happy, loved, and she got there without me. Sometimes I drive past that coffee shop where we met. I sit in my car and remember the girl with the honey hair reading by the window. I remember falling in love so fast it took my breath away. I remember believing that love could conquer anything. I was right and wrong about that. Love can conquer anything, but only if you fight for it, only if you choose it, only if you protect it like the precious, fragile thing it is. I didn't do that, and now I live with it. That's my story. The story of how I threw away everything because I was too weak to stand up for what mattered. The story of how I learned too late what real love means. I hope whoever hears this learns from my mistake. I hope they choose better. I hope they fight harder. Because losing someone you love is painful, but knowing you lost them because you gave up, that's a wound that never fully heals. I know, I carry it every single day, and I'll carry it until the day I die. That's what I deserve. That's the price of my choices, and I pay it gladly if it means my kids have a better life, if it means Sandra found happiness, if it means something good came from all this pain. Because in the end, that's all any of us can do. Learn from our mistakes, do better next time, and hope that the people we hurt can find peace, even if we never do. And here's my question for you. Have you ever made a choice you regret? Have you ever let pride or fear destroy something beautiful? Have you ever realized too late what you had? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes just telling someone helps heal the wound. If this story touched you, if it made you think about your own choices, if it reminded you to fight for the people you love, then please hit that like button and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's standing at a crossroads right now. Someone who's about to make a choice they might regret forever. Remember, the people who love you for who you are, not what you have, are the ones worth keeping. Don't throw them away because of what other people think. Don't let pride destroy your happiness. Don't wait until it's too late to realize what you had. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope it helps you make better choices than I did. I hope you fight harder for love than I did. I hope you never have to live with the kind of regret I carry every single day. Drop that comment, tell me where you are, tell me your story, and remember to choose love over pride every single time.